Hello everybody, I'm back, and the rooster has dried, so I'm just going to make sure that my tape is nice and attached. Sometimes it does that, it does lift after a while. So I'm going to continue on my rooster. Just making sure I have a clean area with that red that I had there. There we go. And Quinacridone gold. Lemon yellow. Lemon yellow.
Sorry?
And I am going to put some Danielle Smith right here, which is the deep scarlet. Yeah, that's right. Just getting the name right. I'm just replenishing my palette with the paint. I'm always checking that the camera's working well. And my manganese blue. And I'm going to put some more of this bright red from Sennelier in this corner right here. So I like what is happening here, so I'm going to start working right up here, working on the top of the rooster. I'm going to start with this bright red. I'm just going to add a little bit more. The more you add layers, the darker it becomes. But then I'm going to put in some of the deep red from Sennelier. I'm going to use the smaller brush as soon as I find it. Here we go. The Danielle Smith deep red. Right. To give it some life right here. And I'll let it dance with the rest of the paint. It's a little darker right here. Fix this up. There we go. I'll let the paint dance. So I'm going to add some more color in here. I'll go back to my big brush. I like using my big brush. I don't have to necessarily put all those feathers, these darker feathers, but if I want to, it will be in the blues. But I'm going to continue putting in more of the Quinacridone gold right on top. And then the other colors, I'm barely touching the paper right on top to create movement. And I can see the other colors underneath. I'm going to put some more here. So when I put it on top of the other colors that are there, the other colors underneath will show through. So as you can see. And come in here, rub it a little bit. See some watermarks, that's why. And the feathers kind of go all the way up here as you can see all the way up here. Yep, starting to like this little sucker. And I'm gonna start putting some of that Danielle Smith deep red. Maybe put some in here. And where it's wet, it's gonna mingle and it'll create some feathering. As you can see, is where it's wet, it'll create. And of course we need some here. Clean your brush off and so here I'm gonna put some red in here to create like there's another feather right there. Maybe a little deeper. That will stick. Here you go. That's very deep. Maybe I should put some more down here. And maybe here. Nice and deep with some areas here. And I can come in deep in here. Clean my brush off and with no paint, just water, very little water. There we go. Maybe puts a little bit more in here, like right there, and right there. Clean your brush. Just let the paint dance on your paper. Liking that, and if I wanted it just a little bit darker, I can come in with my little brush. And darken it up right under the eye here. And right here, maybe add some more little reds here and there. It's a very little bit of a process, but you start seeing little feathering. I think we should add a little bit in this area right here. And then use some water to soften it up. I want to have some sharp lines. That looks not bad. Still like them. So add more here, but I can add it later. So now I'll switch to my dark blue, which is ultramarine blue but deep. And I'm gonna start darkening right, like, you know, right underneath these feathers is just a little bit darker to make those reds pop and those oranges pop. Paper is dry, so softly coming in, and then making it fade out. If you go too dark too fast, it's going to be too dark like I am doing right now, but then you don't have to go back. So really be careful with that. If you want to tighten up those little lines, you might need to use a little brush and make these look like little, the feathers are. See, that's how we come in and put in some more feathering. But I like this area. I can even add more if I wanted to. Remember, when you layer, it makes certain areas darker, so try to think of the movement of those feathers on his tummy, here, here. I want to keep some of that blue, that manganese blue. I can come in and put some more if I wanted to at certain areas. But I prefer just coming in with my dark blue and going back and forth. I like this little fella, eh? What do you guys think? No, not down here. It's supposed to be really dark, so I'll add more dark blue and come up. What it looks like. I'd have to add another bit more to it later, but for now it looks pretty good. Right here. Here and a half. That's why the little brush is good for these little kind of details. If you want to just bring it up and just feather it up. Creating some more feathering down here. Maybe add some of this manganese blue in here. Love this blue. Such a nice blue. Makes it more lively. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so let's do these guys a little bit. So I'm going to use some of this Quinacridone gold. And I'm going to put just a little layer right here. Not worried about shadowing right now, but I want to dry this a little bit so that I'll be able to do some of these wooden floors. Remember I mentioned that we needed burnt umber. I'll show you what I mean by using some burnt umber. I need to put more feathering here, but it's okay. I'll put some afterwards with my little brush and I'll play with it. So now it's kind of wet because of, so I'm gonna go get my burr number that I have in my little palette here. And I wanna just put some on the side here and let the paint just dance. By itself, it'll mingle, and it will create the roundness of and then if not, it's not moving, we add just a bit of water and you could start telling it's moving now slowly. I may need to darken it a little bit more later on, but for now I think I like it. I'll just come in with a little bit more Quinacridone and put a little darker. Come in and put a little bit more feathering right here. Don't go near the green here or the yellow, you'll make green. So I'm just darkening up this area a little bit more. And like we say, in fluffing it a bit. There we go, I think I like it up to now. His beak, we need a little bit of this Quin Gold. And I'm going to put some on his beak since I got the small brush in my hands. And brighten up this area here. And make this side look like it's a bit shiny. There we go. I think I like that. That looks good to me. Maybe add a little bit more blues with the little brush. And I'm kind of like just feathering it on. That sounds good. And we need to stop here so that it could dry. And the next step will be we'll work on the wood in the back. And then we can play down here and do the foreground.